Welcome to the Encore webinar series. I'm Mark Levis, the Director of Public Affairs and Marketing with the National Office of Commissionaires. Today we're joined with James Taylor. Hi, James. With our Nova Scotia. James joined the Corps 9 years ago by the way of airport screening operations. He has some interesting career milestones, including helping with the development of the Charlottetown Airport Emergency Response Plan. And get this, coordinating athletic screening for the 2009 Canada Games and the 2010 Olympic Games in Vancouver. He's a certified range safety officer and a former Canadian national karate medalist with a 4th degree black belt, which is why I don't mess with him. And his love of fine Italian cheeses helped make him a Guinness Book of World Records in 2014 entrant. So we'll have to find out that story later on if time permits. James, over to you.
Thank you, Mark, and good afternoon, everybody. So today, our safety presentation will be on situational awareness in the mask era. And we're going to be taking time to do this presentation today because it is an important topic, especially at this time during the pandemic that we're all dealing with. So today, I'm going to cover what is situational awareness, why do we need it, how do we use it, and there'll be an opportunity for questions at the end, as Mark indicated. So first off, what is situational awareness? It is the act of being aware of everything that is happening around you at that moment in time. And as you can tell from this photo, you can just imagine how important that would be at that frame. So it's based on 3 focus points. One is your perception of your environment. That is knowing what is happening around you at any given time. And at that point, what your senses are telling you, sight, sound, smell, at that moment. Now, the second point, information that you are receiving, and what is your understanding of that situation? What is it that it's telling you that you are facing? And the third point that's important for situational awareness is your prediction of what is about to happen. That is taking everything that the information you have, observing what is taking place, and identifying what is going to be taking place next. So this is important right now for business owners because we're living in a world and what is happening right now with requirements due to COVID that is affecting how we do business. It's affecting how we limit the number of people who may entry and the requirements now about wearing a mask. So it's important to understand your surroundings and understand how to utilize that information in this turbulent times. So you do that by using your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What you feel is one that is often overlooked. How often have you looked back on a situation that you've experienced and thought, I should have handled that differently? Or why didn't I see the signs? Why didn't I react a little bit differently? And the last point I wanted to mention is there anything out of place? For the past 8 years, Commissionaires Nova Scotia, for example, we've been responsible for the race course marshals for the Blue Nose race event, which is a marquee event here in the province. And typically we'll see between 12,000 to 15,000 runners. Now, anyone who is into running or experienced understands that it takes a lot of focus. And often when you're running, you want to enjoy the moment. You're running like myself with headphones on. But when you're doing that, as an example, your situational awareness can be impacted or reduced. So commissionaires having situational awareness and using it to their advantage and understanding how it works is very vital in our role. And I use that example because during these turbulent times, we have been enticed to focus around what's happening in our towns and our communities, and running is certainly an activity that everyone could feel good about. With everything happening with situational awareness, what has changed that has made a situational awareness so important? Well, everything has changed. COVID-19 has changed the world. How we think, it has changed how we work, we live. The challenges we have been facing over these past number of months have been quite acute and quite extreme in some cases. But more importantly, the overarching thought is that it has changed our understanding of being safe. So with situational awareness in mind, how we've used it to fight the pandemic? Well, we've done a few things, both in the province and across Canada. First and foremost, most of us now are wearing a mask to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Our distance from other people, physical distance, social distancing. Many businesses have had to limit the number of people that enter their establishment at one time in order to do those businesses. I've experienced this myself. Home and travel less, and as we do that, we also look at how we plan our trips. When we plan our trips, we're doing it with purpose and efficiency to reduce or eliminate or be very careful the number of people that we're going to be interacting with. And another point, from the start, from the youth up, at the beginning, how important it is to be using proper hygiene to reduce the spread of the virus. Now, one of the tools that we use in this organization and to do business is to communicate online as much as possible, much like that we're doing right now. So with all of these precautions in place, where's the risk? If we've identified the issue, we've identified how to deal with it with COVID-19, what is the new risk that's evolved? Well, the risk comes back to the masks. See, masks impact our situational awareness, and it does it in a number of ways. The masks that we're currently using now to protect us are non-surgical masks, so there are different varieties and designs. Many don't just cover this area, they're covering from the shoulders all the way up as to, for example, what I seen yesterday. So these masks can be quite distracting, both as an observer and then for you wearing them. They also can impact and limit your vision. If you're wearing a mask this way or even the face shields, you'll notice that your peripheral vision is impacted significantly. Another point is it reduces our sense of smell. Well, our sense of smell is one of our key senses, as I started at the beginning of the webinar, that is important for your situational awareness. It helps identify what is happening around you. Another important aspect is that it's impossible to read facial expressions. We put so much effort and energy into communicating and focusing on this area. Think of the happy face. How many times were you young or growing up that you were told to put on a happy face? You know, you have a school exam or there's a sad event and you're trying to make anyone else feel comfortable. So you put on a happy face. You're hiding your emotions. It tells you so much. We put all this effort into it. Well, that area of our communication piece is now covered up. It's been eliminated because of this response that we currently have with COVID-19. So it brings about another sense of communication that we have to worry about. For identification, many businesses like ours require you to show your photo government ID or your government identification in order to match up. So for any business process, for instance, going for a driver's license. Well, you now have to deal with the mask going into there as well, because everyone here in this province has now had to adopt this particular process. But let's look at what the mask does itself. When you're wearing the mask alone, it now affects your speech. If you have someone or yourself difficult of hearing or is challenged in that manner, you now have more difficulty trying to understand someone with what they were speaking because they were speaking through the mask. To get an understanding of wearing the face shield, so I tried it. And one of the things that happens is, number one, it's difficult to hear, and number two, when you're speaking through a face shield, the sound is voiced back to you, so you hear it almost like an echo, and it's much louder. So now you have those two issues taking place. That's your body posture. If you're not used to wearing a mask, and you're in an industry that doesn't require it, what happens is that you now, because of the distraction, you're fiddling with it or adjusting. It's another aspect because it's covering up how you're breathing, it's covering up your sense of smell, so we carry ourselves differently. But there's one aspect that is applied that is different and unexpected to all of this. Wearing a mask can be quite empowering, and it can give you a sense of anonymity, much like having an online persona where you could be commenting on social media with a sense of consequence or repercussions. Masks empower people in the sense that they don't believe that there could be a consequence of their actions in some cases. And there's notorious levels of studies on this. So with all of these in place, how do I use my situational awareness now in these situations? Well, you need to watch the body language. We communicate in a nonverbal manner, and there's so much information that can be garnered. Watching the body language, asking yourself, what is happening? Why is it happening? What will happen next? And what can I do about it? And it is knowing your environment. These are the precepts, as I mentioned at the beginning, understanding what is taking place around you. So let's look at the body language for now. What are the hands saying? Are your hands open or are they closed? Are they being hidden? Does it look like someone's trying to hide something? The hands can tell a great deal. What about the body posture? Are they closing the physical distance? Are they moving in a way that's different than other people? Are they standing more upright, trying to look bigger? The body language and their hands is going to tell you a great deal. Are they imposing in such a sense that they're dropping their body weight to give away that they're going to react in such a manner? Are you engaging with someone who may be removing their hat or their jacket in a very quick fashion? It may mean that something's going to be happening. How are they speaking? Is someone speaking quite loudly? Are they speaking quite softly? Are they slurring the words? Or are they not saying anything at all? So when you're interacting with someone and they're coming into your business with a mask, are their eyes covered up? What are their eyes telling you? Does it look like they're looking for security? Are they panning the room looking for cameras? Or are they trying to avoid your gaze altogether and avoid their identity? Is there a point where they may be coming in and glaring at you? These are all things that are coming out of wearing the masks, and the situational awareness applies. So let's take that information and move out to the environment. In public, and certainly there's been a lot happening these past few months in various towns and cities across Canada. If you begin to see large crowds gathering, pay attention to what is happening. Is it happening all of a sudden? Are people all moving in the same direction at the same time? Are you starting to see activities that are happening that don't fit the norm? Do the movements fit the environment at that place and time? Do you see or smell smoke, for instance? And the last point I wanted to mention was, are there sounds out of place? Even when someone has a mask on, there's certain things that should be standing out. Do you hear glass breaking? Do you hear alarms? Do you hear any loud bangs or pops? Tires screeching? Do you hear the sound of panic? These are things that will not be affected by someone wearing a mask. And from a security point of view, it's about remaining vigilant. If you are a business owner, it's about being aware of how situational awareness can help you given the current state of affairs. So what do you do next if you're in a situation as such, or how do you use situational awareness to your advantage? Well, you need to be attentive to what's happening around you. There's no 360-degree view when you're on a cell phone. When you're out and about, keep your head up, be aware of your environment. Ask yourself wherever you are, can you get out of a situation? Situational awareness is about planning and being prepared. It's not just knowing what is happening and how to deal with it, but when to react. Parents and families should certainly have a talk with their children now that they return back to school. Imagine how fearful they are dealing with going back with wearing masks and their teachers are wearing masks. Businesses should look at having an operational security plan, an emergency plan, and they certainly should have one since COVID. If they don't, we could certainly help building one. And if you do have one, have you updated it to deal with wearing of masks and interacting with people with masks? So I certainly hope this information has been helpful to you. Situational awareness is something that is important to everybody. It should be certainly the foundation of anything when you're looking at a security plan or emergency plan for your business. As an individual, doing business in the current environment and being aware of the mask requirements, certainly here in Nova Scotia, it's going to be here to stay for some time. It is important to understand some of the changes that have taken effect. And I would certainly like to questions if anyone has any questions about this topic.
Thank you very much for that, James. I wonder, James, is there anything people can do to develop their situational awareness skills? I mean, not everybody has the means to get a security guard. Some people run small businesses. What can they do that's not in the moment, but allows them to refine some of those skills and develop those skills for understanding what a threat might be and how to respond to it?
You know, I think as an individual outside of work, you want to do as much as you can to be aware of what's in the present, what's happening around you. If you're a business owner, certainly take a look at the care and control that your business has. Have a look at it as someone from the outside approaching your business. Where do you think the risk or a threat would be? Certainly, if you are a business owner and you're now dealing face-to-face with, maybe you are limiting the number of people that can come into your business, or they're coming in with masks. What is your process? How are you dealing with it? Do you want someone to come up to your business counter to identify themselves directly? Do you have shields in place, like the plexiglass that some of them have? The entirety of situational awareness is to understand that you need to maximize the information that's presented to you and understand it. Being able to filter out what is the norm allows you to focus on what the risk is. So an example would be, if you're a college student and you constantly take the bus, or you walk to the university, for instance, and during that normal time that you're going every morning, you start noticing, well, that's often that these people are always at this time, but the door is left open or something. You start seeing little things. Situational awareness is being able to connect the dots from the information that is out of place. It's out of place to what should be the norm. So as a business owner, I would look at how your business operates and look at what would be the signs that something would be advantageous to someone looking to do harm to your business.
Excellent. I have more questions, but I'm going to throw to Lisa really quickly and see if we have any that we've received.
Yes, so one of the questions we have is from Stephen. Some masks are a fashion statement, others are actually scary. Does this add to the distraction?
Absolutely. I had an opportunity this week actually to see a group of school children get ready for the first day of school, and they had been prepared for the school bus and the seating arrangements and having to wear masks. And when the school bus pulled up, the new bus driver was wearing a very scary mask with a big set of teeth on it, which didn't quite go over well with the already stressed children. I think for a lot of it right here is still people who don't see the value in it. And I think there has to be a level of professionalism as well, that if you are a business owner and your staff is wearing masks, what kind of environment that you're having with them, and be open with them. It is a requirement right now, and most businesses, private establishments may be doing something a little bit different, but any public places is a requirement, and I certainly think it can impact. So I think people need to be cognitive of that. Certainly, you might be going into an eating establishment, and there may be some concern there, because the other thing too is, from the health perspective, the masks need to be cleaned, and you want to have that relationship from a customer service point of view as well as the health point of view, most importantly. So I think absolutely it could impact. There should be some consideration in that.
The next question is from Cameron. What details should be recorded for a business owner to pass along to authorities with masks?
Well, I think that if you're dealing with a situation where someone has come into your business and there's a level of suspicion or concern, is obviously to get the most information you can. As I said, if they are speaking, obviously that's going to be important, but fitting the description, everything that you can get. This week I had an opportunity where I was in a business locally and my name was called out, and I had to scan the room looking for them. And when I did identify the person who it was, their mask went from their shoulders up to their ears, sunglasses on, and then a ball cap. I had no idea who they were, and I didn't know that level of risk given the business I was in. So I think that regarding the question, as much information as you can have from description point of view, and obviously how they're conducting themselves, going back through, where were their hands, were they holding anything, were they acting in a suspicious manner, did their movements establish themselves separate to everyone else in the environment. Meaning, if you're at an electronics store or a phone company to pay your bill, and someone's coming in and is disregarding the rules or disregarding the public space of everybody else in that, there's something there. They're going to be agitated. It could be something else. So as much as information you can get from both the description and their actions or movements and anything that is speaking, that's what's going to carry out any distinction features. And that would carry whether they're wearing a mask or not, but it would affect given the current requirements.
Thank you very much for taking the time today. Everybody who is on the call right now, feel free to contact James directly. His contact information is on the screen. We also have Commissionaires offices across the country. You can visit the website commissionaires.ca to learn more, and contact your local office if you want to learn more about situational awareness. It is now 12:52 p.m. Eastern Time. Enjoy the rest of your day.